Hey, today we're going to put in a Firestorm compact undermount heater into this 2015 Polaris Ranger full size. We're going to start by taking out the tabs that hold the dash in place and take the dash out and put in our vents. We'll do the same thing down here so we can access the lines running from the engine to the front of the cab. We got our templates here. We're going to put them where they say to put them and mark out the spots so we can drill them with the hole saws that were supplied. Next is to secure the ductwork hoses to the back side of the vents underneath the dash. And secure them with zip ties. Make our electrical connections in the ground and the switch to connect the wiring loom to the fan switch. We're now going to attach the switch bezel to the dash. It says put it nearest to the edge. The dash feels like right about there, feels right. We got our switch wired through the firewall. We've firmly attached our bezel and our switch. Mount the template up underneath the passenger side, underneath the dash. Okay, we got in here and we have the template in place. The holes are now drilled, and it says to put in our 1¼ grommet into this hole here for the coolant line to run through. We've got our other template here. It's going to fit right here underneath the dash. I just punched a little hole in these so I can just mark that with a marker, and right there I'm going to drill an 1¼ hole for a coolant line. I got somebody on the other side to make sure I'm not going to hit anything. There you go. And right through. And then we're going to pop that grommet in there after I clean it up. Came with 2 unicoils in the package, and I threaded one onto the radiator hose. It says to expose 34 inches here between the end of the hose and the unicoil. We're going to route that 34 inches of radiator hose through that tunnel I just drilled, and then we're going to take the remaining length of hose and run it through the drive shaft tunnel to the back of the engine. Okay, we're back under the front of the machine here, and it says to bend that unicoil at a smooth 90-degree angle. Okay, the instructions say the next step is to insert the shutoff valve right there, but I'm not a big fan of having to take my floor apart every time I want to shut it off. I understand the company's probably worried about this being exposed to the elements back here, but I'm going to put it back here later, and if it ever fails, I'll just replace it with a metal one. Well, 2 inches of hose, unicoil, and this length here was about 3 feet long. It says to run this from the inside of the cab out until the unicoil hits the rubber grommet. The next step was to insert the floor vents into the floor vent plate. Just push it till it goes click. We had to take these vents apart. There's no way that was going to go through that hole. Maybe you got a socket that big, so you can push on the socket, pop the vent into 2 pieces, and that way now this piece can pop in. We can put the faceplate on there with the vent. I'm going to put these on first because I don't want to have to connect them once this is attached behind the dash. Alright, the next step then was to take that vent bracket and drill for it. And I drilled way back there, and the holes are actually in the back of this compartment there. Attach the mounting plate to the heater. And one of the main causes of confusion, it's called an underhood heater, but the heater is actually inside the cab under the dash. And we've got the vent hoses connected there. Another spot we struggled with was the vent hoses. I'll just show you on this one. It said to cut them, take a side cutters and cut through a couple wires. Not on the foot mount vents, but where they attach to the heater, because the heater ports were a little bit bigger. So we had to just cut through those once on each side and fit them over the heater port and zip them on. And the directions do tell you to do that. And there's also black plugs that are in your inlet and outlet to hold vacuum on there to check it for leaks. Those black plugs, of course, are going to come out. We're now going to hook up our water lines. Coolant connections have been made, secured in place by number 10 hose clamps. The floor vent has been attached securely with the bolts through the top of the little glove compartment here. Got it up on ramps now, and we're going to do our coolant connections. Spray. Close your eyes.
Got a bleeder here.
Gonna put in the Y fitting. The Y fitting has been installed. Currently clipping off the coolant supply so we don't get anything spilling to the back while we put the thermostat bypass valve on. Thermostat is located right here. Thermostat comes off. Thermostat bypass valve goes against the engine block with the O-ring down. Thermostat on top of the thermostat bypass. Use the supplied bolts and nuts to reattach the thermostat bypass sandwiched between the thermostat and the engine block. Thermostat bypass valve hooked up here, hose clamps, zip ties. I ran the radiator line on top. I know that looks scary, but we made sure that we checked here and we have the clearance we need. Stay away from anything that's hot up underneath the skid plate. We tried to catch as much coolant as we could, dumping that back in the radiator, and we're going to run this through the system. Okay, it's been 2 days since the install, and I think I've got all the air out of the system after jacking up the front end and letting the fan cycle a few times, and I probably added about a little over a half of a jug of 50/50 mixed coolant. Been warming up here for about 10 minutes. Let's see where we're at. Engine temp's at 188. I have an ambient temperature outside today of 40 degrees. I got 150 degrees or better coming out of there. And that's at idle. And like I said, there's 2 on the dash. I've got 2 others way down below. I put them way down below down here. I've got them just kind of blowing on our feet. And you can't see anything. So all in all, I'm a big fan of the heater. Polaris one would be awesome because you do have the dash vents. This one does not have those. But hey, I saved $350 by going with the Firestorm Underhood Compact over the Polaris OEM heater. Love it.